Hello folks, this is Matty. Today we're testing DR Minecraft Land v3. This is map by Lerua. This is a bug testing session. Apparently there have been a few issues with the map, so we're just attempting to track down the causes of the problems. I don't actually know the details of the problems myself, unfortunately. I've only been made aware of the fact that there are issues by Wormwood. I asked them to give me a list of issues, but they have sadly not done that. So apparently some people have tried to join the server, well not this server, but they've tried to join the map recently on other servers and they've been unable to join. Maybe their clients have crashed or whatever. So what I've done is I've asked people in the previous map on this server to enable con_log file and then start logging console. I've also asked them to enable developer 3, which not only does it show all the development details of developer 1, but it also shows convar changes as well. So the idea being that when they try to connect to the server, if there's a crash, it should log everything up until that point in the console, which might give a little bit of an idea as to the cause of the problem. I'm doubtful that that's going to happen, because typically the cause of a crash doesn't, you know, it crashes the game, so it doesn't then print anything to console. But it can give you kind of an idea of the order of events. So let's say the map loads, textures are cached, sounds are cached, logic entities are loaded, etc. If there's a problem with the logic entities, then we know from studying the log file that a problem happened after the sounds were cached, you know. And so we can kind of infer that there might be a logic issue. There's a spectator camera on a fish for some reason. That's a really nice spectator camera looking at, like, outside with some bees and stuff.
Son, I'm gonna blow that spy around here.
Why can we see blue guy in the sky? That's a bit strange.
Start praying, boy.
You know, there's probably a way to better simulate being teleported to the nether. So for instance, what you could do is when people stand in the trigger, you could lock their inputs using a condition which prevents them from moving, and then you could give them a screen overlay which warps their view using an animated bump map, and then it would then teleport them after a delay using a point teleport.
Thank you. Giddy up. I'm gonna beat you like a rented mule, boy.
Spy in our midst.
You and me, Hoss.
Why is the blue guy now losing health?
Maggots! Come here, sissy.
Because he don't fix save blue.
You and me. Let's do this.
Look, that's, we identified that issue some time ago. That's a shame.
Need a dispenser here.
Well, you just put a block bullets there and it'll solve all your problems. Make it from detail unless you're using block bullets too. So it goes without saying, we don't need to demonstrate that on the next round. You could use funk grenades, but it wouldn't prevent people from using hit scan weapons, projectiles, guns, etc. Or fire.
Nice going. Need a dispenser here. There you go.
Seems this note cube is a button, and it's got use activates, which is fine. But the problem is that by default buttons have like the ability to move, and then they move back 3 seconds later. So what you probably want to do is, you know, maybe just get rid of the use activates flag and only allow people to melee it. Alternatively, you could turn it into a proper button, have press activates and then stop it from moving. Tick the don't move flag. And then just give it a very short reset time. Like 0.1 second, so people can spam it. Why are you screaming when going on the ice? It's not that, Oh my god, it's ice! Ah! Yeah. Oh my god, it's cold! There must be a better way of slowing people down than this.
That spy is not one of our... Alert! Sentry ahead! Sentry forward!
But why is it necessary to slow people down anyway? I mean, it's ice, it's slippery, so surely like going at full speed is kind of part of the challenge. I suppose it stops people from jumping over it, doesn't it? Yeah. You could always just change the route a little bit. Put some trees in, make it a little bit longer. But yeah, humiliation's one way to do it, I suppose. What you could do is you could replace the scream sound effects using a custom sound script file. Find out what game sound names the sounds you use, and then just create your own. And then use your own sound effects, or just make them silent, you know. It doesn't really matter though, it's fun. Screaming when you go on the ice, it's a bit daft. Oh, these hazard strips are so close together that I'm a little bit confused about what is a trap zone and what isn't a trap zone now. Because these non-trap zones are about as large as trap zones in other maps. Also, the switch to hazard tape is a little bit off-theme, don't you think? You're just taking a standard Half-Life hazard stripe and then kind of just building it in, so surely there must be a better way to indicate a trap zone that uses a Minecraft theme. Oh. Yeah, maybe you could have like a different colour soil or something, yeah?
Pyro,
or maybe a different kind of rock, or
quietly.
You know. I tell you what I do like actually. There's a kind of bush that you can get like a berry or something, and when you walk through it, it damages you. What's causing all the network traffic in this area?
Many thanks.
Yeah, and I like the idea of kind of walking through those bushes and receiving ticking damage. Also, the noise that's made in Minecraft when you receive damage, like the slapping sound, the slap, slap, slap.
That soldier is a spy. That soldier is a spy. Help! Need some help here.
Let's have a look at the edicts. You've got 205 Fizz Bone Follower. You have 205 Fizz Bone Follower. Let's see what happens when I kill Fizz Bone Follower.
Boys, we have a traitor.
Yeah, the network traffic in this area has gone right down. So you must have some dynamic models in this area that still have bone followers enabled. And as a result, that's causing a lot of unnecessary network data being sent to clients. But the easiest fix for this is to just go into Hammer, open the Entity Report tool, look, filter Prop Dynamic, and then select all of them by selecting the first one, scrolling to the bottom of the list, holding Shift, selecting the last one, opening the properties, and in the key values, disabling bone followers and then pressing apply, and that will disable bone followers for all prop dynamics. There are no situations where bone followers are needed. The reason for bone followers is, let's say you had a dynamic prop and you started to play an animation, but it was important to communicate the position of certain bones of that model to players. So for instance, maybe they had hitboxes on those bones, and the model was taking damage on those bones. Well, then a bone follower would be important, because it would essentially be like you're sending multiple entities to that player. But typically what happens in Team Fortress 2 is you have a prop dynamic, and all the player needs to know is the position of that prop dynamic and what animation it's playing, because the animations all exist on the client side anyway. The player therefore does not need to know any information about the bones. All it needs to know is the origin and the model and the animation that it's playing. Most of the time you see this issue in maps where people use Team Fortress 2 character models, like for instance in motivators or Easter eggs or whatever, and they don't enable or disable fizz bone followers then. Now the problem with bone followers is, not only do they cause a lot of extra network traffic, which can lag players sometimes, it also increases the number of edicts that it consumes, and as you probably know, you have a limit to the number of edicts. So let me show you. You have, at the moment, 1,745 edicts with a peak of 1,819. That's since we started the session on this map. We've only got 14 players. So on a full server of 32 players, you are very likely to crash the server by having too many edicts, unfortunately. So you do need to reduce the number of edicts, and one way you can do that is by disabling those fizz bone followers, because you had 200 there, so that's a huge drop. In fact, disabling fizz bone followers would probably eliminate the chances of the map crashing on a server like Skyle. Or Skyle, however you pronounce it. I don't really know, to be honest. We need to get the bot to say it one day. Well, nobody's reported on the playtest channel that they crashed or anything, and I haven't noticed any errors in console, but I'll have a look afterwards.
That heavy is a spy.
Interesting effects. I think that's due to the textures being point sample there. Yeah, point template can definitely help to reduce the number of active edicts, but it's important to remember that anything inside a point template is actually spawned on round restart before being put into a template and then killed. That's the reason why I made that plugin, so it constantly monitors edicts.
Good night, Irene.
Or it records the peak number of edicts from round restarts. That's why at the moment we only have 1700, but the peak value is 1819. So watch what happens now when I kill all of his bone followers in this area. Look at the number of edicts that are active. See, it's gone down to 1498.
You are the sorriest excuses for soldiers I have ever seen.
So if you're interested in improving the visual effects of the nether teleportation, by the way, just ask in the playtesting channel afterwards, and I'll give you some suggestions. I won't go into detail without you asking, because I'll probably forget. So. Oh, do we get XP? I don't get any XP from that.
You and me.
Don't shoot the activator. Choose something. What have we not played yet?
You and me, Hoss.
That pyro's a spy.
Looks like it, yeah.
One of you has failed.
Ripley died. Are the minigames or endings, are they on like a cooldown system?
Victory. You did well. 5.
Progression system. How do you progress? Oh, well, that's easy. Well, that's fair enough, yeah. That makes sense. So now that we've chosen humiliation, does that mean that more minigames, well, other endings will be available next time? So what happens when you've unlocked all endings? Are you then just still able to pick whatever you want, or does it reset?
Fire! Fire! Fire!
I do wish there was some way to communicate to players that, you know, that those are the ones had to be kind of unlocked somehow, and how they could unlock them.
Get on now, mates.
Maybe you could kind of purchase endings or something. Maybe you had like a certain number of credits or whatever, and each ending would cost a certain amount or whatever. I don't know. That's probably going to be very difficult to communicate because you'd need like screen overlays and text and so on. But I think after a while of playing this, people will probably realise that things open kind of sequentially. Don't attack the activator. In fact, the activator was attacking themselves, I think. So I'm looking here, okay. Is that brown? Oh, I didn't realise that was a colour. I thought that was just a background.
Pyro, calling here. Something just came up.
Yeah, that is really fast. It's like gone straight to hard mode. You want to start off slow and then give people a chance to get used to the game. And then go faster and faster. Also, I think the wait between each colour reveal could probably be reduced by about a second. Because otherwise we're just kind of standing here for an extra 2 seconds that aren't necessary. I also think that the glass texture is a little bit on the noisy side. Like what people should be focusing on is the coloured blocks, but because of the fact that the glass is noisy, visually detailed, it kind of sticks out in front of you and forces you to look at the glass rather than the colours. Ideally, the glass should be fading into the backdrop, so maybe you want to use a coloured glass variant, like dark grey or something, which I think is possible in the later versions of Minecraft. Or maybe use something that's not wool, because I know there's more coloured variants these days, like terracotta or ceramic, whatever it is. I think some of those terracotta blocks can be quite nice. Although I think there's decorative versions that are extremely visually detailed, which are probably not very suitable for this game. One thing to bear in mind also is colour for people who are colourblind. A couple of these shades of red, there's a pink one and a red one and orange, they're quite similar. If you were colourblind, you'd probably have issues telling them apart, so you might want to kind of implement a pattern on those three in the middle just to help colourblind people tell the difference a bit. It could be as simple as maybe having you know, like an extra kind of row of blocks on one side or something, or a border of certain kinds of patterned blocks. Yeah. I know it's not so much of an issue in Minecraft because you can use pretty much whatever colour you want purely for decoration, but as this is a pretty critical gameplay objective or interactive element, you need to kind of make sure that it's easy to use, easy to read. I really like the lighting, and I think it would be a shame to lose it, but I think you can just use the colours which contrast a bit more in certain situations. It would probably be a bit easier. Maybe even different materials, like cheers, Sadie. Like you could have wool for most of them, and then on the three in the middle, you could have like a slightly different kind of material, a patterned block, for instance. You know, just don't use too many patterns, too many different types of patterns, because that will get more confusing.
That sniper is a spy!
Move that thing!
I'm gonna beat you like...
Shall I skip to the end? Also, we're still hitting our heads on the ceiling here, I find. I think the ceiling needs to be... the whole ceiling needs to be raised by one block.
Fire!
Have I gained with this little...
Made it!
This area doesn't seem to have any actual manual traps. You have the jumping bit where you jump over lava, then you have the ice bit, and then you've got a section later on which is kind of like trap, 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 trap. I think it's good to have these sections which slow people down. Like the lava bit could probably slow people down a little bit, although experienced players could probably hop over it pretty quickly. And the ice definitely slows people down.
Help here!
But they should be used to kind of separate blocks of manually activated traps.
Need some help here!
So you'd have like 3 traps and then a slowdown area, 3 traps and then a slowdown area, you know. The slowdown area would also help to ensure that people weren't able to rush ahead too easily. That's probably because the teleport destination is too close to the return teleporter. You'll need to put like a gap of 256 units. The problem being that when you are teleported, your momentum is preserved, the direction that you're moving, and so if the direction that you're entering the teleporter entrance is not the same as the one in the next area, then you typically get flung in like the entirely wrong destination. So it's probably best to kind of line up your teleporter entrances and exits for that reason, if possible. You can actually stop people as well. What you could do is you could put your teleporter exit 1 unit underground, and then people are teleported into the ground, and then the server would unstick them. That would stop them from moving, but it's a bit janky.
Medic! Giddy up! Move him out!
Schnell! Raus! Raus!
Hello!
Did you do them in something like Blender?
Come on!
And are the sound effects like built into the models somehow, or are they ambient generics?
To the right!
Or is it a door? In fact, it must be a funk door, I suppose. Or a button. It must be a button, like, you know. And then the top, I guess, must be parented, I don't know. Prop dynamic button? Prop door? Yeah, prop door supports sounds, doesn't it? It's not a major issue, I'm just asking out of curiosity. Oh, is this a reader? Yeah, there are ways that you can increase the activator's health. You can count the number of players, and you can scale the activator's health by using add output. you can use a couple of logic cases and a math counter and some counting logic. So again, ask in the playtesting thread later and I will explain how to do that. And you might think, oh, it doesn't matter because most Deathrun plugins take care of player health scaling for you. But the problem is each plugin is different. So Skyall's VSH implementation keeps the activator health at 200 and grants some resistances. Deathrun Redux scales the health. Deathrun U scales health as well, and the latter two plugins change it depending on the number of players that are still active. But if you give the player an overheal, the activator that is, then that is kind of overridden by plugins anyway. So even if a plugin doesn't have its own scaling, then your own health scaling will work. And if a plugin does have its own scaling, then your scaling will be overridden anyway, so it's perfectly fine.
Right up. All right, you wankers. Attack! Give them hell, boys!
What you can do actually is I can scale up the activator's health next round. Next time we choose arena, so I'll do that. So guys, if you choose the arena minigame, please, we can test it properly next time.
Need some help here?
Oh, fight. Let me go out there and choose
I
it then.
need some help.
Don't choose a minigame, please. Move out of the way, please.
Let's do this Texas
Alright,
style.
let's go and fight.
Medic! Medic! Thanks.
Help me!
Lol. How is somebody supposed to get there if they've only got melee? You might want to clip that off.
Bounce pad.
Bounce pad? There's a bounce pad. Where? Oh, it's slime.
Flawless victory.
I didn't see it.
Now do it again.
So yeah, you might want to work on your arena design. You probably want to make it at least 4 times as large. You might want to use Castle Stevie's arena for a little bit of inspiration,
That engineer is a spy.
because that is a good size and it has a good amount of cover for people to kind of disappear in and around. It also has a couple of health packs and ammo packs in places which encourage people to kind of reveal themselves. So yeah, I don't want to blow my own trumpet too much, but definitely check that out. Another thing is, if you've got an arena, you also need to build in a way of forcing a victory, because if the two teams idle and what have you, they'll drag out the round indefinitely. So either put a timer in, using like a team round timer or something like a minute or minute and a half, or don't enable a central control point actually, just put a timer in.
Well, don't that beat all? Nice shot.
Use a team round timer and then send it the input showing HUD 1 so it displays on the HUD so people can see how much time is left then. Because if you just have like an internal timer and don't communicate to people how long they've got, they'll just idle or they'll just waste time not realising how long they've got left. I'm not a fan of the minigames resetting themselves after they've all been used. I think it's better, personally, to just unlock them and then leave them unlocked for the rest of the session. Because then what you're doing is
That sniper's a spy.
you're ensuring that games get played at least once, but then you're kind of leaving it to the choice of the person who gets to the end. And players tend to naturally balance things out themselves. So let's say people did a humiliation last time. The next player who gets to the end will probably choose something different, you know. You have to have faith in people sometimes to do the right thing. So does anybody have any feedback then, or bug reports or anything they'd like to leave whilst the video is recording?
I'm moving this. Good shot. That there wasn't getting any lighter. Moving out.
Yeah, the edict counts is a big issue. As you can see, we've got 1679 right now. We've got 8 players. But if you remove the bone followers, that should take care of the issue. At peak, we had, say, 16 players, and it went up to about 1800. Player edicts in my testing tend to account for about 400 edicts. Players tend to account for about 400 edicts on a full 32-player server. So that's why I suggest that you have like a maximum limit of say 1800 with a preferable limit of 1600. That is idle without any players on. So if you can what am I talking about? There you go.
Heck yes.
Yeah, get rid of the fizz bone followers and you should be fine. So you can see that figure going down from 1819 to 1619.
Soldier, it's spy.
Alright guys, I'll let you carry on playing.
I'm gonna lay you out. Alrighty then, move 'em out.
I'll leave the server as soon as this game finishes.
Hi, Pyro. It's been calling.
Let's try. Thanks very much, folks. I shall see you on the server. If you have any feedback, please leave it in the playtesting thread. If you notice any console issues, error messages, that sort of thing, also put that in the thread. And if you're logging console, you can just type con_log file and then a space and then put 2 double quotes and that will stop logging it, or you can just quit the game. But if you go to your Team Fortress 2/TF directory, you'll find the log file in there.